Most e-commerce and telehealth businesses are losing out on millions of dollars every single month because they're not doing SMS marketing. And even those who are make these 3 key mistakes. So after generating over $60 million in lifecycle revenue for our telehealth and e-commerce brands, I'm breaking down the exact strategy that consistently brings anywhere from 10 to 20% of total revenue from SMS without annoying customers or wasting your budget. Now, make sure to watch this until the end, because if you keep treating SMS like email, you'll risk wasting thousands of dollars every month on sending costs, or worse, getting fined for compliance violations. Let's start with mistake number 1. Alright, so into the training. The first step here is how to get more SMS subscribers and grow your list without annoying customers. So basically SMS list growth. And let's start by what most brands do and what you shouldn't. First of all, one option that most brands do is they don't collect SMS at all. You can see here, they're just asking for email, but no SMS in this pop-up at all. Or the other option is that they're asking for email and SMS on the same screen. So for example, in this one, they're asking email and then they're asking SMS. And if the a person doesn't provide both of those, they're not going to be signing up at all, and then you're losing that lead forever. So what you want to instead do is to have this kind of multi-step pop-up, which is collecting third-party data, it's asking for email, and then finally it's asking for SMS as kind of like an optional step. So then if they don't want to give the SMS, they're still giving the email at least. But why do you do it like this? What's your top health goal right now is in the first window here. This is basically a third-party data collection step, and it's also a micro-commitment step at the same time, which means that you're only asking them to press a button aligns with their main goal. Why are they shopping from you right now? So they can press lose weight or boost vitality. Alright, what it achieves is basically 2 things. It achieves a higher submit rate because of a micro-commitment bias. So there's this commitment bias, which means that whenever somebody presses button here, it's a simpler step to do than just writing their contact information straight away. So they're more likely to go through this. But then when they have done that already, they're already committed to finishing the process and continuing with it. So they're also more likely at that point to also provide their email and SMS, especially because they're expecting something more personalized to them because they were able to give their preferences in the first step. And second point here is it enables the personalization. So we collect the data. Are they willing to lose weight or are they willing to boost vitality? And then based on that, we can segment the whole journey. It comes with email, comes with SMS after that, focus on the exact pain point, exact dream outcome that they're looking for. So if they're looking to lose weight, we are targeting them with weight loss related content. And if they're looking to boost vitality, we're targeting them with that type of content. So that's how the right way, how the best way to collect SMS content and collect SMS phone numbers is. And what does this lead to? Obviously, this is a really, really outperforming outlier example. So there's step 1 engagement rate 60%, 2 42%, step 3 29%. I'm not expecting you to be able to always collect 1/3 of your leads phone number. It's a lot when it's these cold leads that are coming from the pop-up, but it can work. And with this framework, I can almost guarantee that you're going to be able to increase your SMS sign-up rate compared to one of these options here. All right. Then second step here, high converting SMS flows. So SMS automation sequences. These are the automations that generate revenue while you sleep. And let's start with the mistake here again. The big mistake I see here is basically, first of all, treating SMS like email, which means that you're making 8 email flow and you're also adding like 8 SMS in the flow. It's not how you should be doing, because SMS is expensive. It's an urgency and less frequent channel complementary to email. Email should do the heavy lifting regarding education. SMS should just do the urgency-driven retargeting communication. Another part of the mistakes here is that you make messages that are more than 160 characters. And whenever the character limit goes above that, you're paying for 2 times more. You're paying for 2 SMS instead of, and it doubles your cost. And most likely it's not gonna increase value if you have like a few characters more in there. So I would highly recommend staying under 160 characters. Regarding this step, emojis or special characters everywhere, all of these eat 35 to 50 characters each symbol. So I can show you, for example, let's say this symbol right here takes 1 character, but then this symbol here takes 10, 20, 30 or something like that characters. Just by accidentally using this character, you're using up to half of your SMS with just a few characters. So you need to be really specific about not using emojis or these special characters, even accidentally in the SMS there, to be able to stay under the limit and limit your cost as well. And then the last part here is missing the key flows. So obviously you don't want to treat SMS like email, you don't want these long, super long, complicated flows. But if you don't have SMS touchpoints at all in any of these key points, you're missing out on a lot, because some people might be not engaged with your emails anymore, and if you don't use the other channel to engage with those, you're losing those leads that you could have salvaged otherwise. So what are the flows you then need? I'm showing you key ones here and just really basic examples, because with SMS you don't really need to do anything crazy. It's not rocket science. You just need to have like reminder, retargeting, urgency-based communication with lower frequency frequency. So you don't want to try to reinvent the wheel there. You just want to keep it pretty basic. And that's already bringing you 80% of the results. First of all, welcome flow, which delivers the sign-up incentive and is pretty much sent to them after they sign up. Here's an example. Welcome to our brand. Use code this for 10% off your first order. And then, shop now site. Then 7 days later, maybe your email as welcome flow is about to come to an end. You want to have them like one last reminder. Hey, we saw you signed up but haven't used your 10% discount. Shop now. Maybe you can even have urgency there like, hey, this discount is expiring in the next 24 hours. Last chance to use it or something like that. Other flows here, abandoned cart and checkout flows. So basically the goal with these is to recover lost sales, recover these abandoned checkouts. And usually you want to send these around 30 to 60 minutes after the abandoned event. So if they abandoned the cart, they didn't finish their purchase, maybe 30 to 60 minutes later, you would retarget. The first one looks like you forgot something in your cart, finish your order, and then link it to the cart. So this is a really simple example. And then maybe, again, towards the end of the flow, when you've had like 3 to 4 email touch points in the middle, if these people still haven't converted, you can have like a final urgency reminder here. Your cart is about to expire, use code this for 50% off your first order, finish your order here. And then you also want to auto apply the coupon code. So when they press the link, they can automatically use the coupon code. And it's already applied to remove, reduce from there. And now, if you want to offer discounts, this is what I recommend here. Segmenting the discount only for prospects and sending a non-discount reminder for existing customers. Because you don't want to condition people to only buy at a discount. So you would probably want to have like a split here for existing customers, which would be without the discount here. So that's how I would do it. And that's how I in most cases do it. Then quiz abandonment flow. This is telehealth specific because we're focusing on the telehealth industry. This is pretty much the same idea as behind abandoned cart and checkout flows, but it's just regarding the differences in the funnel. Telehealth funnel is a little bit different. People need to fill their health questionnaire, health intake before they can actually purchase. So if they are about to fill the health questionnaire and then they drop off during the process of filling it, then we will target them with a similar, recovery flow, trying to get them back to the quiz abandonment, trying to get them back to the abandoned quiz, and then get them to finish it and actually purchase. So this is usually, again, sent like 30 to 60 minutes after the abandonment event. And another example, you're almost finished with your GLP-1 assessment, finish it here, and then there's a link to the actual questionnaire. Ideally, we want to link it to the dynamic spot of the questionnaire where they're actually dropping off from. So using like a magic link. So because the questionnaire takes like 3 to 5 minutes at least to fill, if you push them to the static link, they're going back to the start of the questionnaire and they're like, oh no, now I need to fill this again from the start, and then they're going to be dropping off. So if they have already almost filled the questionnaire, you want ideally to push them to a magic link that then eventually allows them to end up in the exact same spot in the questionnaire where they dropped off from. So they, again, reduces friction and makes it more likely for them to fill the questionnaire and actually convert. And then again, at the end of the flow, when you have had some email communication going on, then you do the second kind of urgency driver here. So your health intake is about to expire. Use code GLP15 for $25 off your first order today, like this. And then these are just some examples. Obviously, other high impact SMS flows are, for example, especially in subscription telehealth businesses, flows that target those people who canceled their treatment, canceled their subscription, and then try to recover them, try to collect data from them, and then try to win those people back. Tying to the normal win back flow, which is basically sent for people who, let's say, they have been active on a treatment or they have purchased from you before, but then let's say in the next 60 or 90 days they haven't. Then you try to send them like a delayed win back flow, like, hey, you see this, hey, we miss you, whatever. This kind of re-engagement points to kind of try to, again, reinforce your value proposition and get to come back to you and purchase from you again. There's also post-purchase onboarding flows. So obviously with this kind of content that is more educational, you want to focus more on email. So usually in the post-purchase onboarding flows, we have a lot of touch points for email, like 10, 20, 30 even. And then we have like maybe 1/5 of the amount of SMS flow. So a couple SMS here and there to engage those people who are maybe not that active with the email. And then again, post-purchase cross-sell and upsell flows as well. These are really good for SMS communication to basically, let's say somebody is active on one of your treatments, buying one of your products, then you want to cross-sell them to complementary products, complementary treatments. And then also with the upsell, you can upsell them to higher priced items, bigger bundles, maybe like a 3-month subscription instead of a monthly recurring one, or this kind of stuff. So there's a lot you can do, but these are pretty much the key flows that I would recommend usually for doing with SMS. And then the other flows, obviously you can do more, but this covers, let's say 80-90% of the results already. And then you can go a little bit more deep and more advanced with email, but with SMS, I wouldn't go too high frequency because there needs to be ROI for each send, because SMS costs a little bit more. So you need to make sure that ROI, you're getting the results out of each email, out of each SMS message. Now, point number 1 is SMS campaigns. And these are the broadcasts that drive revenue in real time. Starting with the mistake again, a big mistake I see here is basically, first of all, sending 3 to 4 SMS per week. Again, this is not email. You shouldn't be going super high frequency. You should keep it to lower volume, lower frequency. You also don't want to send at these random times before 10 a.m. after 7:30 p.m. because it's against the regulations and against law, so you don't want to be fined by compliance violations or anything like that. And then, a lot of brands also use MMS for everything, and it costs like 3x more, but it doesn't bring you 3x results. So for ROI's sake, I wouldn't suggest the same thing that I mentioned about emojis and special characters. They're not going to bring you that much extra impact, so I would recommend avoiding those to keep the ROI highest possible. Now, what is the right way to do SMS? Is pretty much sending 1 to 2 SMS campaigns per week max, unless it's like a big promotional period like Black Friday, Cyber Monday or something like that. Maybe at that point you can send like 1 per day or something for a while, but otherwise I wouldn't go higher than 1 or 2 SMS per week max on the camp on top of the automated flows that you have going. So here's an example for February. For example, there could be Valentine's gift guide teaser, a Valentine's collections launch, Valentine's Day flash sale, then self-love, treat yourself, kind of like a product collection showcase, and then end of month flash sale again. Just as an example of like the frequency and what kind of content you would want to send with SMS. You want to keep it, high urgency content, really specific content. What this means is that only send when it matters. You shouldn't send like these educational SMS touchpoints in the same way as you would do with email, but you should focus on these high urgency and actually meaningful announcements and content like that. So what could be good examples? Back in stock, that's a good one for SMS. Product drops, new product launches are good. Flash sales or promotions in general, like last chance, urgency driving SMS, like 4 hours left before the sale ends, shop now or something like that. And then limited time offers, kind of like the same as I just mentioned. The sending windows that work, so what time should you be sending basically? From 11 a.m. to 5 p.m. is usually, between that range is usually pretty safe, somewhere between that. Don't ever send between like 8 p.m. to 8 a.m. because that's against like regulations again. That's going to cause you issues, people can sue you, you're going to be fined, and you're just going to piss off your customers. Don't do that. A final bonus point here that I want to mention, because I don't see anyone talking about it and I have really, really positive experiences with this, with multiple clients, multiple brands in different industries, is conversational SMS. And what this means is basically, where operationally feasible, we recommend layering in conversational SMS. This is reply-enabled conversation starters signed off by a real name. So here you can see an example. Hey, first name, I noticed you started your treatment intake but didn't finish. Let me know if there's any way I can help. Emilia from brand. So it's like one person sending you SMS. It looks like somebody from their team is actually sending you, but you can send these as automated messages inside your flows. And that's what we've been doing, for example, for a lot of our telehealth brands. Something like this as part of, let's say, questionnaire abandonment flow. What this allows, it allows them to respond to this email. It basically, the whole point of this is to start a conversation, allow them to respond to this SMS. And this is like a dialogue channel over the normal like one-way transactional SMS that you would be sending. And then the responses that they actually provide to us here are routed, care or support when appropriate. So for example, in this case, we would send an automated flow for somebody when they abandon their health intake like this. Then we ask them to respond to this. So let me know if there's any way I can help. Then maybe they respond here like, hey, I have this question, this and that. And then basically this response that they give is routed to the care team's inbox for further two-way conversation. So the care team can basically start the conversation there, and their goal is to offer help and then guide this person towards purchase eventually. And when implemented well, this obviously feels and it is personal. It improves trust and long-term retention. It recovers high-intent users at a higher rate than transactional SMS, much higher rate based on our experience in many cases. And it collects real qualitative data and feedback from customers and prospects instead of just being these one-way blasts. And like I said, we've done this with a handful of telehealth brands, and it has increased prospect conversions and recovered questionnaire abandonment significantly, anywhere from 1.5 to 3x higher conversions compared to transactional normal SMS flows. So if you have the operational capacity to handle this, I would definitely suggest doing this, especially in an industry like telehealth, where it's a lot about like trust building. You're talking about healthcare. You're not just selling a t-shirt, but you're actually selling medication. You need to be able to talk with them. You need to be able to provide the support, and this is a really good way to do so. So that is how you optimize your SMS marketing. But here's the thing, SMS works best if you have the proper email marketing foundation in place first. It is meant to act as a complementary channel for high volume, high frequency email communication. SMS can drive 10 to 20% of your total revenue, but email drives another 25 to 30%. And most brands are leaving hundreds of thousands of dollars on the table because they're missing the core email foundation that makes everything else work. So when you click the video on screen, you'll see the exact 3-part email marketing strategy that took one of our health and wellness brands from 25K to 225K in monthly email revenue, including the pop-up framework converting at 10% plus, the 5 email types crushing it right now, and the segmentation strategy that makes the same exact list worth 3 to 5 times more. So make sure to click the video on screen to watch it, and I'll see you in the next one.